Jennifer Maiolo-Ferran, and I'm the Assistant Director for Graduate Recruitment at the Muma College of Business, here on the set of Getting Down to Business to talk about all the exciting programs and happenings at the business office.
Thanks, Jennifer, for that great introduction. I'm Ashley Curtis, the Assistant Director for the Bishop Center for Ethical Leadership.
And I'm Jill Brown, Academic and Career Advisor with the Muma College of Business. And today's show focus will be on graduate programs with USF and how they can help advance your career.
Before we jump into today's great episode that we have planned about graduate programs, Jennifer, we want to ask you just a quick question. All right, can you describe a pivotal moment that has changed your life and significantly influenced who you are today?
That is a great question, and I do have a little bit of a story time, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Early on in my career, I was working in social services. It was kind of my job right out of my bachelor's degree, working for a program for a few years where a promotion opportunity came about, and of course I applied, and went through the interview process and was, very qualified for the position. And even my manager told me I was qualified for that position. However, I did not have my master's degree at the time, and that was something that was required for the position. It ended up I didn't get the position, and someone that had less experience than me did get the position, which was very disappointing. I was disappointed in myself too, because my parents definitely urged me to go on and get my master's degree right after my bachelor's, and I was like, no, I'm done with school. So I worked there a few more years. I really did enjoy my job and the culture there, but I ended up pivoting into higher ed, and a few years in decided to go on and get my master's degree because I never wanted to be in that position again, to where I was not selected for a promotion because I didn't have the education behind it. So I went on, I got my MBA, and that was about 12 years ago now, and never looked back. And it's just something that's kind of always stuck with me. And as far as career-wise, you just never know when you're going to need that next step in education to qualify for something, even though you have the experience under your belt. Because you don't match the educational credentials, you could get passed over for that. So here I am today, helping students just like myself kind of get into that next step and look forward to the future, and look at getting a graduate program in business.
I love that. I love that persistence, and I love how relevant that story is to today's conversation.
Absolutely.
So, thank
Yeah.
you.
That's what I was going to say. What a great way to kick off the show in a
Right.
sense. Totally goes along the same lines of what we're going to discuss. So thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
of course.
So we're going to get down to business now
Mhm.
and dive into some questions that we have for you.
Sure.
And a lot of times students, when I meet with students at the undergraduate level, with accounting, finance, whatever their major might be, they're thinking about that next step too.
Mhm.
And a question that comes up is, well, should I do an MBA or a master's, a science in a specific field? And I go over some of that, but I'd like to hear from the expert, from our assistant director here,
Yeah.
to talk to students a little bit more and share your insights as to how to help them make that choice or even just research.
Yeah, of course. I think first and foremost, you have to start with your research and kind of know where you might want to go down the line, because that does make a big impact in your decision. But we get that question all the time. What's the
Hmm.
difference between a specialized master's and an MBA? How can I decide which route I want to go? And of course, it is always personal preference, but I think specialized master's is exactly in the name, right? It's a focused area of study. So it's going to be like your MS in financial analytics, your MS in marketing, your MS in management,
Hmm.
your MS in accountancy, and those areas of focus where you're going to be studying just those kind of courses.
Hmm.
And it is really designed for those students that are early on in their career focus. So
Okay.
maybe it is just right after their bachelor's degree and they want to go into kind of that specialized area, versus an MBA, which is really a more broader program. It's cross-functional, and it is geared towards maybe those students that have a little bit more experience in their professional
Hmm.
jobs and are looking to take that next step into leadership.
And I guess a lot of, like, if you look at the MS in finance, and I think they've added now, it's analytics and AI
Financial
and
analytics.
finance. Yeah.
And our new one, fintech. I wanted to mention that
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So if they were to do that, I guess maybe a difference in the job that they might be looking at. A lot of
Hmm.
times I tell them with the MBA, you're looking at more C-level type positions, right? But
Absolutely.
that can come with them specialized masters too. But
Yes.
maybe that entry level, how that would look different for a student, MBA versus specialized.
You're exactly right. Like when they're looking in the job fields, if
Hmm.
they're going into that specialized master's, it is going to be into a very focused area of, a career where, like you said, the MBA is kind of those students that maybe have a little bit of experience under their belt, like in business in general, and then
Hmm.
are looking to get to that next step in a leadership or management position. Not that an MS could not get you there, because it could, but it
Right.
is really designed for those students who want to really focus in one area.
Okay.
I'm just curious while we're on this particular question, do you see, you mentioned uh, students in the programs who are, some of them who are coming straight out of a bachelor, some of them who have been out of school for a while. I remember when I graduated, I always got the feedback that I should wait.
Mhm.
Do you see more of one population, or are there different programs where you recommend uh, per program that maybe there's one type of path that someone should follow?
I think it's definitely divided. Again, it's really the student preference. I'm of two schools, right? Like if you have the time right after your bachelor's degree, kind of where I feel like I may have, strayed right after my bachelor's degree. If you have time to do your master's degree right after, like why not? Like jump into it, especially if it's, a specialized area. One that comes to mind is accountancy, right? If you're coming from a
Mm,
bachelor's degree in
yeah.
accountancy and you're looking to get into the CPA, take the examination for that and the licensure, maybe the MSAA is your route because it aligns with the CPA and it's going to, pivot you potentially into that career. So that's maybe something that you would want to do right after a bachelor's degree. If you're looking at an MBA, maybe you do want to get some career experience under your belt just so that you can um, give better feedback when you're in your courses, and you can kind of take that information from your MBA and utilize it in the workplace. So it really is kind of a divide, but not to say either a student that is well along in their career couldn't come back and pivot into something else as with a specialized master's, or vice versa, where we have some undergraduate students who have been working during their bachelor's degree or have been taking a leadership stance in their fraternities, or are in a leadership program that are ready for that MBA. So
Okay.
it really is, there's so many nuances to why anyone would make a decision on what they're doing. But I'm here to support and talk about it, and work on it with you and the team is. So that's exactly what we're here for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
So, speaking of big decisions, can you share with us what are some of the differences between USF MBA versus other programs? And I
Hmm.
know we were just talking about rankings.
Hmm.
So, maybe you
Hmm.
can share with us some of the rankings as a part of that.
Absolutely. So I'm probably a little bit biased on this question, of course, right? But our MBA really does stand out for its flexibility, its diversity, in affordability and the delivery formats. It really is designed for a working professional or that student that's looking to get into their career and also get into their graduate program. We have online classes, fully 100% online classes. We've got weekend classes. We've got evening classes, anything to fit a student's schedule. And so that really does stand out. We've got the AACSB accreditation, which is something that not every business school does have. So it is like the golden standard for
Hmm.
business schools. And then, yes, our rankings. According to Princeton Review, we've just moved up in the top 10 nationwide for
Wow.
online MBA programs,
Ooh.
and we are number one in Florida. So Um, Congrats to the
That's
team
huge.
Yeah,
That's
in
they've
getting
huge.
worked
us
hard for
there.
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh,
Yes,
number
yeah,
one in Florida?
exactly. Big shout out to the team.
Yeah.
So something that we're very proud of, and our online MBA program is actually very popular, and it's becoming very competitive to get in. As you can imagine, with the rankings,
Mhm.
we are in the top of Florida and top 10 in the nation. So
You wanna talk did you wanna I know there was kind of a couple of things tucked into that question, like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
benefits.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna pass it up.
No, that's fine. So one of the things Jill and I were thinking as we were thinking about this question more
Yeah.
broadly is what are some of the benefits that an MBA offers not only to the students but for the community
mm,
Yeah.
as well?
that is a really great question because, I mean, the brand recognition of USF in the Tampa Bay network is a household name,
Mhm.
right? So, most likely, if you are looking to get into the um, professional area, whichever area that is, specialized masters, MBA, whatever profession you're looking to get into after you finish at USF, most likely you're going to run into a USF alumni, a USF student, someone that knows USF. I was just at International Mall last night and I ran into a USF student who was checking me out. So it's, you are going to have that brand recognition in the community, and the community knows the top-notch education that we provide our students. So that is something that benefits the student because, right, everyone after school is looking to get into the job market. And then it also benefits the workplace because they know the quality education that our students are coming out with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I was thinking that actually on my drive in today, I was thinking of some of like the big four firms that we work with and all of these
Absolutely.
employers where we bring in alumni, but it's a large network of USF alum.
100%. Our graduate assistant, Amy, shout out to Amy, she was interviewing for a job position at a big accounting firm, and her interviewer was a USF alumni. So as soon as they started to talk about her education, they connected right away,
Yeah.
and they were able to, chat about USF, how things have changed, and it really does kind of bring the interview process. It's a little bit of ease because
Mhm.
hey, I've been to USF, I graduated from there, and you already build that connection in the interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like thinking about it bigger than just yourself too, is your impact to the community and then
Hmm.
that network that you just
Yes,
discussed that you're
yes,
building. So
absolutely,
fantastic.
absolutely.
All right. So another question. We're going to stick with the MBA for just a minute because there's new concentrations that were
Hmm.
rolled out recently.
Yes, yes.
I have to look at my notes because let's see, blue economy,
Hmm.
personal financial planning, healthcare leadership. Would you mind sharing with students what this means and what the industry demands, why they're there, and how they can help a student, like we
Sure,
said,
yeah.
advance their career?
Absolutely. So, the blue economy and the uh, financial planning is both launched within our online MBA. So those are
Okay.
concentrations within the online MBA. We partnered with the College of Marine Science for the blue economy, and
Mm,
that is for professionals that are interested in business, but also maritime trade, coastal tourism, fisheries management, and sustainable ocean resource use. So for
ooh,
those
okay.
students that want the
Yeah.
best of both worlds, because of course business is in every
Hmm.
every arena, is the blue economy would be a specific credit hour amount during the online MBA that you would take in the elective portion of the program.
Okay. Okay.
And then for the financial planning, that is also something that's very popular because we do have of course, everybody that wants to plan for their futures.
Hmm.
And it's going to give the students a very well rounded education in regards to retirement planning and financial advising if they're, again, looking to combine their MBA with financial planning. The healthcare leadership is something that we have recently added to our executive MBA program. So
Okay.
that's for students that have 10 or more years of leadership experience that are looking to get into our executive MBA and take on that healthcare kind of component. It's usually students that are working in hospitals. We have doctors, health care administrators,
Mhm.
and students of that population that enjoy that concentration in the executive MBA.
Yeah, and that industry just continues to grow and
Oh,
expand as
absolutely.
we continue to live longer, more
Mm-hmm.
healthcare changes,
Yes,
and how to navigate the systems, basically.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Jennifer, you also mentioned at the start of our conversation a recent addition with fintech.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you
Mhm.
share with us a little bit about that as well?
Absolutely. So it's going to be our financial analytics program meets technology. So it's going to be a program that is specialized, combining the two areas of focus. So for any student that is wanting to get more into the tech side but still interested in finance, I would say that this was a really good program to research and look into.
I think as our students and listeners are sitting here, especially if they are at the place where they are thinking and getting ready to apply for a graduate program, it can be really overwhelming, right? I know when I was going to grad school, that process was daunting. And so, guess really just curious, what do you think someone who is beginning to think about first steps? What is the first step that somebody should think about as they begin thinking about applying to grad school and going through that process?
So I think we talked about it early on. Definitely do a little bit of research on your own. I love when I'm talking to students and they come in already knowledgeable about the programs that we offer and
Right.
something that they might be interested in, so that we can expand on that conversation. So do your research early. Attend info sessions. We offer information sessions virtually, in person, so definitely get registered for one of those and attend, one or more information sessions. We do information sessions for the specialized masters, for the MBAs. We have virtual office hours. There's a way to connect with us one-on-one in personal meetings in person or over the phone. So I would say that's a really great opportunity to get in front of us and talk about the programs and figure out what might be a good direction. Understanding your goals and what you want to do in your future, that's very helpful. Even if it's, if your goals change down the line, that's fine as well. We can always pivot and talk about a new program or whatever it is, but maybe to have that idea of what you're looking to do in the future, what type of business that you want to get into or what type of career you want to get into, that's very helpful.
Great.
Yeah, and I was going to say the website's fantastic. It's easy to maneuver. We're going to talk about it at the end too.
Hmm.
But like the little chat bots, you can talk
Hmm.
with a current student.
Yes,
So, I mean, the information is right there at their fingertips.
absolutely.
I do think that sometimes, as Ashley was saying, it's daunting, but some of it is the introspection that has to come with
Mhm.
what do you really want to do? And they've been trucking along school, high school, college, and now it's like, what? I need to think about, ooh, is it a job? Is it
Hmm.
graduate program? Is it both? Where do I go? So I can see, but the nice thing is we have recruiters right here on
Hmm.
hand, the website, just, I guess, just click the button and get
Exactly.
some help. Or like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
an info session is probably one of the best starting points.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Admission criteria. That's another fun
Mm,
one. And it can differ depending on your program, obviously.
absolutely.
So let me see. Let's see. One piece of advice you might
Hmm.
offer to a student in regards to that, because again, that starts the process. And then they're like, oh, I don't know if I should apply, or, there's application fee and things like that. So
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a question that we get most often, right? The admissions criteria. And it does range between the programs. So I think one piece of advice is to know the why behind, the intention behind the program that you're looking
Okay.
at. That is going to make it easier on you in figuring out
Hmm.
which program am I selecting, and then from there, kind of dive into the admission criteria and the credentials that you're going to need to move forward in that program and being admitted and moving on to actually enrolling into the program. So just really yeah, knowing the why behind the program that you're selecting.
Okay. And because there are going to be deadlines for each one. And this
Absolutely.
is something that came up last week. So it's always near graduation. So I have a ton of students that are looking for December graduation.
Hmm.
And they're asking, okay, well, can I make a deadline for, just basically graduate and then start a master's program in the spring? And it's kind of tough. I think sometimes, right? They do have to have the degree earned,
Hmm.
or is there a little, what would we call it? Like a little funnel, some type of intermediary step? Because sometimes I'm like, again, reach out to the grad office. I'm always
Hmm.
like, please reach out, make an appointment. Don't be scared.
Right.
They're like, but will you be my advisor? No, you're going to get a new advisor, but they're
Right.
just as fantastic. So,
That's
don't be
true.
scared. They're our colleagues. We know them.
Hmm.
We work with them and talk with them all the time.
Hmm.
Um, but again, that bridge to the
Yeah.
next phase.
Absolutely. There is a little bit of flexibility.
Okay.
The students definitely have to be on the trajectory to graduate, right?
Right.
So, at least in their final semester is a great time to start applying for grad school, or even the semester before. That's
Okay.
fine as well, because especially if you're a USF student, our
Hmm.
admissions committee is able to pull your transcripts and kind of forecast where you're going to be at the
Okay.
end, right? When you get that close, we can see grades and how you're performing.
Perfect.
So there is some flexibility. Of course, the one of the main criteria is to have an earned bachelor's degree, but
Right.
we can be flexible.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So for those, really, the summer is a great time for next year spring.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yep.
Thank you
Hmm.
for that.
So we talked about info sessions earlier.
Hmm.
Can you share other event or opportunities where students can connect with your office?
Absolutely. Yes. So we talked about the webpage earlier. We have a full page just dedicated to any events we're hosting or any events we're going to be at. So that's a really great way to connect with us. You can click the meet with the recruiter button to meet with us one-on-one. And we have our Muma ambassadors that are available. So there's a great chat feature on the
Mm.
webpage that kind of pops up. It looks like an AI tool first, so you can ask questions, but it definitely gets you over to a live person. I say live because, we're not always online 24/7. And it does tell you that on the webpage, but you can connect with a student that's potentially in the program that you're interested in, or myself, and we can, chat via the chat tool on the Unibuddy is our platform. So that's really a great way to connect with us as well. I mean, usually when I'm on the chat feature with that, I'll direct them, hey, why don't you attend one of our info sessions, or let's meet one-on-one via phone or whatever it is to talk more, because the chat is a little limiting. There's only so much information that you can give over the chat, but definitely a great tool to chat with students one-on-one that might be in a program that you're interested in.
Awesome. And just to clarify, for students who might not know what a Muma ambassador is, so Muma ambassadors have actually been through the program, correct?
Correct. Are currently in the program usually.
Great.
And sometimes we have alumni that are a Muma ambassador, but yes, it is a current student or an alumni that have been in the program that of interest, and they can tell you kind of like a day in the life of what a student seems like at Muma, and what maybe the classes are like, or the schedules, or maybe some tips on professors, anything that you want to ask
Mm.
them during that time.
Which I just think is so great, because I think how often do we sit down with a recruiter and it's like, okay, great. Thank you for that information, but what is it actually like?
Right,
Right?
absolutely. I don't have that in-depth information because I'm not in the classes every day. I did my MBA, quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So, not everything that I have to offer is relevant in today's time. So it is a really great opportunity to connect with someone who is in the program and get that kind of day-to-day information.
Yeah.
Because that is
Wonderful.
a question I've had too. Well, what are the classes? What can I
Right.
expect? That's a
Absolutely.
perfect question to ask the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
And I'll
Yes.
say too, the little AI that popped up, I had a student in my office. I was like, I don't know. Instead of trying to search through each different masters, I was like, what are most of the deadlines, per
Mm.
for these these 3 programs. What are the deadlines? And it spit it right out for me. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is awesome.
It's a great
Yeah.
tool.
So
Yes.
again, an anonymous way where you don't have to pick up the phone, you don't even have to send an email. You can just
Mhm.
gain some information and figure out, where you're at, and then again talk to a recruiter. Really, I don't want to not emphasize that enough
Right,
in the
right.
sense that that's our job. That's why we're here
Mhm.
to talk with the students and also make sure that you're making a good informed decision with that next step, because it is a big commitment, and your time and money that's going to go towards that,
Yes,
hopefully for
for sure.
dividends to pay off.
Yes, yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Well, we're really at the end. And is there anything else that you maybe want to leave students? If not,
No, I think that it's definitely a decision for everyone to make, and figuring out where they want to take that next step. Like I said, we're here to support you.
hmm
The entire team at the graduate programs office in the Muma College of Business is here to support the students. We've got the advisors, we've got the career advancement team, myself and my team. So whatever we can do to help support and move you towards that next step, we're here for it.
right, reach
Mhm.
out. All right.
Mhm.
Thanks for joining us on set,
Thank you for
introducing the
having me.
show.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
this is Jennifer,
absolutely.
Assistant Director with the Muma College of Business Graduate
Yeah.
Programs. And I was going to say the website, it's super easy,
Mhm.
usf.edu/business/graduate. So check them out and follow Getting Down to Business, YouTube, Apple, Spotify.